Okay, darlings, I now have everything available that I need for my presentation of task 3. In fact, I've got a sheet. I had to produce a sheet with arguments for both sides because my last examination is about 40 years ago, perhaps even more than 40 years ago. I think more than 40 years ago, and I think in 1983, I don't think your parents were already born. Perhaps Anna Maria or Thomas, but most of them I don't think were born already. So I had to refresh my memory. Also, of course, I have my coffee and Schokobons, because in my spare time, I'm Nebenberuf, I am a Kinderschokoladen-influencer. And for every chocolate I eat, I'm being paid 10 euros. So I have to that's the only reason why I eat them. Okay. Here we go. Now, maybe this chocolate inspires me. And by the way, in your examination on Friday, you can also eat things and drink. Everything that helps you do a good examination is most welcome. Now then, as always, we're going to start with the paraphrasing of the task. And you do it like this. In my final, or in my last task, in the third task, I'm going to discuss the arguments in favor and against examinations. I will find arguments for both sides. And in my third step, I will come to a conclusion on the basis of what I've said before. That's it. And now you can do this. Now you can do the task proper. And my advice, right, and it's only an advice, is to start with the arguments of the side that you are not in favor of. So in my case, of course, I'm in favor of examinations. That's why I start with arguments against examination. And my first argument is that I agree with Daniel Burkett that exams are too stressful. They put too much pressure on me. And I cannot perform under pressure. And that's unfair. Sometimes I forget what I have learned in a stressful situation. Number 2, it's also the case that we students, we pupils, always learn only for the exams. And when they are done, when we have written our examination or done our presentation, we forget everything we have learned. We just learn for this bleeding examination and then forget about it. There's a new topic and we learn for this new topic and everything we've done before is forgotten. And that's stupid. Let me add a third reason. The third reason would be that I am a person of creativity. My strong point is creativity. But there are hardly any exams, there are hardly any exams that test my creativity or where I can show my creativity. And that's unfair because a part of my life, of my talents, is not being asked. Right? So these are 3, in my opinion, valid arguments against examinations. But now I come to the other side. And you might say, on the other hand, there are also arguments for examinations, and I'm going to give you 3 now, or 4, I don't know. First argument is, I've learned something, and I want to be rewarded, belohnt, so to speak, by a good grade for my work. Now, that's the world. The real world is that you work and basically you get a reward for your work. That may not always be a fair reward, but it is a reward. And I want a reward for my work. And the reward for my work is, of course, my grade and then the report. That's logical. Yeah? Next thing. And a test examination also shows me what I have already learned and what I need to learn in the future. So that tells me what I have to do in the future, and that's helpful if I take it seriously. Next thing. I'm someone who works, but in my class there are also students who don't work, and it would be unfair that there is no difference between those who work and those who don't work. and the difference is shown by tests and by the grades for tests. So if there are no tests, there is no telling, unterscheiden, no means of telling between those who work and those who don't work. 10 Euro, Kaffee ist teuer. Oh. Dann ein bisschen Kaffee dazu. Kinder, werdet Lehrer, ein schöner Beruf. Man lernt tolle Leute kennen, man kann das bis ins hohe Alter machen, das Gehalt ist nicht schlecht und man kriegt auch eine ordentliche Pension. Es ist schön, es ist echt ein guter Beruf, wenn man mit Leuten umgehen mag. Anyway, so my penultimate, vorletztes, my penultimate argument is that my reports might help a manager to find out if I'm the right person for the job he has on offer. Right, he can talk to me and find out what kind of person I am. He can look at my personality by talking to me, but also, quite importantly, he can look at my reports. Right, and then he has a good impression, a complete impression consisting of my personality, so to speak, and my reports. And that's an important means of him finding out, or her finding out, if I'm a good person for the job. Suitable person. Avoid the word good, if I made it good. Finally, seriously, and I really mean that, if we fail in a test, we have to learn how to deal with failure. Life is not possible without failure, and we have to learn to deal with these failures. Wir müssen lernen, mit Versagen, mit Durchfallen zu lernen. Because we have to learn that a failed examination is not the end of the world. Of course, it's nothing to be happy about and nothing to be congratulated for, but failure is part of life and we have to learn to deal with that. Now, if you write a 5 or a 6 next Friday, you have to learn to deal with that setback, Rückschlag. You have to learn that you still, despite the bad grade, you have to keep on working. Right, so, like in football, if you miss an important penalty, you don't stop playing football. You have to learn to deal with that, right? And that's why I think examinations are good, because they teach you to learn how to deal with successes as well as with failures. And both of those things are important. So, to put it into a nutshell, I am in favor of examinations, because they tell me how much I've learned and they also reward me for my work. Full stop. Finished. That's it. Again, I've talked more than I would have written, but in a presentation, an oral presentation is always more expensive, glaube ich, nicht teuer, so expensive, ausweitend than a text is, a written text is. So, I really hope that my presentation, Schokolade fliegt weg. Also, I hope that my presentation did help you preparing for Friday. I can only invite you to ask questions if things are unclear. And of course, I keep my fingers crossed. That's in English. Keep my fingers crossed. Also, drück die Daumen. Keep my fingers crossed that you do well on Wednesday and on Friday, and that the work you have put in will be rewarded with proper grades. Okay, I will now go back to enjoying the day. I enjoyed the video, but still I'm going to enjoy the rest of the day very much, and I hope you also have a good day, because it's a short day. I think you can leave school earlier than you would have without the sun, but may the sun shine on your lives. Metaphor. Bye bye, darlings.